Hey guys, my name is Drew, if for all of you that do not know me already, and I'm from Card of My Eye on YouTube, and I'm also at scrappyhappiness.com, which is where most of you guys are right now for the blog hop, and all of my viewers already know who I am, so I'm not going to go into much detail, but I'm 15 years old, and Mary from Cards TV, I'm pretty sure you guys all know who she is also, she asked me to be in the, 2 mini albums blog hop, and I absolutely entered into the blog hop. And so this is the album I created, and don't forget to go to everyone else's, which I have the links right above this video, so you can go check out everyone else's. But first I want to show you mine. I created my album. It's a pretty big mini album. It's 6 inches wide by 8 inches tall, but I thought it'd be fun to just kind of create a mixed media album, which is what I'm doing here. And what I did to create this kind of golden background, I'm not really sure if you could see that. Oh, that didn't help at all. But this golden background, what I did was I embossed it 3 times. First, what I did was I took some pieces of patterned paper, or vintage book dictionary paper, and some vintage stamps, and I placed them all over my surface, just straight on the bare chipboard. And then I went all the way, embossed all over the top with 3 coats of embossing powder. Then I painted on some of this Renaissance Gold. It's called Liquid Leaf, and what it is it's Renaissance Gold. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of glaring there, but it's Renaissance Gold, and it's just like this gold kind of liquidy. It's really pretty. And I just painted it all over the top of that, and I heat set that again, and what it does is it causes the gold paint to crackle, so if you feel that crackly effect. And I added on some embellishments, such as some handmade flowers that I got from Nancy. Thanks so much for those, Nancy. And I glimmer misted them with the latte, and I kind of burned them with my heat tool, so they look really cool, and added some pearls into the center of them. And then a significance token, and a Tim Holtz gear, which I did the same exact technique on that I did with the background. I did it on the gear and as well with the birdcage. And I added on a real clock gear in the center of that. And I added on a couple flowers. This is a tea-dyed flower that I created, and underneath that is a Prima flower that I painted with the gold, Renaissance Gold Liquid Leaf. And I added some clock hands and just the little bird, and I added on the crown using a Martha Stewart punch, and I added a little eye on it. And the paper collection I used was the Steampunk Debutante by Graphic 45. I know that paper collection's been out for a while now, but I didn't really use a lot of paper in this album, so there's not a lot of that collection in here. And then I titled it Journey, and there's this little ornate plate right there, and so this is what the front cover looks like. I hope you guys can see it. I'll have detailed photos on my blog as well, so if you'd like to check those out a little bit better. So I'm just going to open it up and lay it down. So that what I did on this page is you can see I just did a distress wrinkle technique, wrinkled up my paper, added lots of distress inks and glimmer mists, and this liquid leaf again. I used that a lot. And I just pasted that on. And this is my mixed media pages. What I did was I did all different size pages. I bound it with my cinch binding machine using the 1-inch black binding rings from Zetter. And I just did lots of different sizes of pages and materials and things. So my first page is this one right here. I'm hoping you guys can see that. It's not really, it's actually showing up pretty good. But I added a steampunk gear and I glued it on at the bottom, and I added in one of these tags that I got from the Steampunk Debutante collection. And I created my own vintage looking tag here. Looks like this, and there's some journaling lines in the back of that. And I added on one of these tags here that I stapled on some ribbon to, and it has a crown stamp on it, and then I added on one of those images there from the Steampunk Debutante collection. I'm just going to slide those right back in there, and I flipped the page here, and on this page I did some inking in the walnut stain distress ink and some stamping, and I added the tiles from a Scrabble set that says Sun, because I'm going to use this for like traveling album, and it has a little ribbon here that I embossed with some embossing powder. And on this page here I added on just a tag that I created, added on a little bit of ribbon, a little tab punch from McGill Crafts, and on the opposite side of there, on the front I used a stamp from Tim Holtz, and then on the opposite side I used a little book plate, and I added in one of these little tickets from the Steampunk Debutante collection there. And then on this page, I added on one of these vintage 1945 envelopes, and they're Denison clasp envelopes, and they're really cool. I added in some a vintage, or not a vintage, but a glimmer misted tag, and I added some really pretty velvet fibers to the top of the tag there, and I stamped it all over using that stamp from Tim Holtz, the clock stamp, and I added on some vintage stamps on there as well, like actual postage stamps. And on the opposite side, again, I added on one of those tabs. On the opposite side, I added the word hope in a journaling or a photo mat there. On this side, this is a 1957 Milton Bradley flashcard that I got from Nancy. And I just alcohol inked it to make it look something that looks like this. It's really kind of cool. And I added on another one of those vintage stamps there. This page is pretty neat. It has a photo, just a vintage frame here, and it's all placed on burlap fabric, and I just again punched through the burlap fabric, and I added on a hydrangea from IamRoses.com, and I added on a Prima flower and a vintage real authentic clock hand on there as well. And then what I did on the next page was I added on a wrinkle distress texture, and I sewed around the edges using my sewing machine. So I'm not really sure if you can see those stitching lines. And then I added on a handmade Prima flower that I did some inking to. And on this page is really cool. It says, enjoy the journey down here. This is one of Tim Holtz's stamps. I'm pretty sure you guys have all seen that stamp set before. And I added on another one of Tim Holtz's gears, and I tied some twine around it. And I did the same exact technique that I did on the front, but I used some liquid pearls in the pewter color instead of the gold liquid leaf. I added a little bit of it on there, but that's just to show the raised areas. Then I added on some of those vintage postage stamps again, if you could see those on there, and some burlap fabric, and a little bag that I sewed the edge on, and I added some vintage book pages and some stamping and distressing and glimmer misting onto there, and I added in 2 little tickets in there. One of them is a vintage flashcard, and the other one is just from the Steampunk Debutante collection. And then there's a little tab on the edge, and pull that, bring it over. This one says travel across the bottom, and it has one of those Tim Holtz birdcage dies that I used my walnut stain ink on, and I kind of shimmered it up a little bit with the this again. I used this a lot. And on this page, I did the same exact thing. I used some burlap fabric, and I ran an inch strip of cardstock along the edges, because you know burlap frays, so it's not going to really hold this burlap page in there really well. So I did that, and then I added some liquid leaf all over the page just to kind of give this really cool rustic look on the burlap. And it says dream down here. And then the back of that page has been inked in the Fired Brick Walnut Stain Vintage Photo Rusty Hinge Distress inks from Tim Holtz. And I used another off-sized page, and it says live the life you've imagined, and there's a photo mat. So you could see like the inked photo mat around here. The opposite side just has a burlap photo mat and another one of those vintage stamps on it. And on this page, I have another one of those 1957 flashcards. And I added one of the stamps on it, and this is actually what they look like, guys. So you can see they're really vintage looking, and it's really cool. So that's the opposite side of there. And this page, this little pocket here, is another one of the pockets from the Denison clasp envelope, and I added in a glimmer misted tag and a vintage flashcard tag, and I added a little pull to the top of there, and those just go in here. And for all of the things I attached fiber to, I attached a extra large eyelet from, I think they're from We Are Memory Keepers, extra large eyelets, and I added on some doily lace from Martha Stewart, and this vintage image that I got from lisasalteredart.com. She has some great collage sheets on her website, and I love vintage images, so I added that one on there. And on the opposite side here, I added on some photo mats and the word soar down here, and it has some of these really cool like distressed photo mats that I added on, and it says in dreams we catch glimpses of life larger than our own, and I stamped that a couple times on there. And on this page here, I know this is kind of all jumbled up, but I think it's a really cool album. I added on a burlap piece and a Steampunk Debutante little tag, and a little handmade tag slips behind the burlap there. And then 3 of these tags right here. They slip right inside of the first pocket, and in the second pocket I have a clasp envelope, just a full one, to add like some, to add maybe some items inside of, maybe like plane tickets or something, just something like that, to add inside of there, just to have. And some more of the steampunk debutante paper on here. And on the opposite side I used some vintage book page, and it says love down here, and I inked and distressed the edges and the rusty hinge. And then I added some of these stapled ribbons on here, and it's a trifold pull-out for extra photos and journaling. And on this page here I added on a corrugated cardboard, and I just ripped the edges off of it, and I added on some of this trim, or I ripped it and inked it, and I painted this with the grasshopper ink as well as some of the gold leaf again. And on the opposite side there's a vintage book page photo mat. On this page here there's another one of those Milton Bradley flashcards, and it says redeem on, or return on this little tab punch that I used on there, and that's from the Graphic 45 times Nevois paper collection. And then it says love down here, and on this page here I added on a photo mat, and there's a vintage stamped image and some more vintage stamps down here, and it's all really distressed and fun. I'm really not sure, I forgot what I was going to say. Anyways, I added, on this page I added one of the steampunk debutante tags here, and added some of the gold leaf edging around there, if you can see the gold leaf in there. And on this page I used a piece of grunge board, and I just rounded the top corner, and for all the rounded edges I used my We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper, and I used an ornate plate from Tim Holtz as well as this little oh, I don't think this is a tag actually. That just goes on my page like that. And it's one of the images from the Steampunk Debutante. And this is a really shimmery, kind of brown, silver, iridescent page that I could add a large photo to. On this page I used some vintage newspaper and a paper bag. And I just placed it on this little applique page here. And on the opposite side it's just distressed cardboard, chipboard. My last section is this little, another one of the Denison clasp envelopes, and I just added some book page onto it, added a couple of the things from the Steampunk Debutante collection, as well as the, as well as my little puzzle piece here, and then I have a couple tags that slip right inside of the Denison clasp envelope there. So I hope you guys enjoyed my little mini album that I created here. And then on my very last page, I just used the same exact technique that I used on the front. And on the very back page, one second. It's kind of hard to get this thing completely closed. It does close pretty well though. But as you can see there, it's a pretty bulky album. But on the very last page, I just painted it with the iridescent gold leaf there. And so that finished up my mini album for today. And I'm really not a humongous fan of this like vintage distressed looking style. I really love it though, but yeah, I just wanted to show you this. And don't forget, you could go, if you're on my blog right now, head over to my blog if you're on my YouTube, but if you're already on my blog, look right down there and there's a giveaway for the Gingerbread Cricut cartridge. Is a new Christmas release Cricut cartridge, so don't miss out on getting the cartridge. So just leave a comment on this post, and I hope you guys enjoyed my album. Thanks so much for watching, you guys, and I hope to see you guys around soon. Bye, everyone.